bounced at the microphone then. It was scary. What you were coming for.
You pressed the on button, so
You
I'm
went on. Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. We're back
We are.
to talk about another movie.
Another movie. We didn't have a wave this week,
No.
so we are going to give you a bumper movie show.
Randomly selected by our
Of course,
trusty randomizer.
unless they're wild cards, they're always randomly selected. And this week, Robin picked a movie called Prisoners of the Lost Universe.
It did. She did. He did.
They did.
I think she's a she.
You say she, I say he. So
Yeah.
we can't gender them.
No.
Ungendered. Prisoners of the Lost Universe next year will be 40 years old. It was made in 1983.
Wow.
It is a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 30 minutes, almost to the second. And it's currently rated a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay. Feels about right.
Yeah,
But it's not the whole story.
that's definitely not the whole story. I've got a little bit of a fact for you.
I love a fact. You know I love a fact. Fact me.
I've got a few facts. Richard Hatch is in this film.
Yeah.
He was ill during the filming of this.
Okay.
So most of his voice is him redubbing it.
Okay.
But some of it isn't, and you can tell when he's ill and when he's not ill.
You would probably most know Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica.
You would, indeed. I'll go through that in a minute.
Okay, fine.
It was a TV movie made for the Showtime channel in America.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it is part of the notorious German Schlafes series. Ever heard of this?
No.
It is basically a German TV show that airs on German TV station Tele 5. And Schlafes is a German abbreviation which means the worst films ever.
Right.
So basically, on this channel, they play a film and the two hosts talk about the film whilst the film's playing.
Oh, excellent. Like a
Like a bottom of the stream.
like a director's commentary, but
Basically, but slagging
not-
it off all
yeah.
the way through. And this featured on an episode of that in December 2020.
Okay.
It's a great idea for a TV show. I don't know why anybody's never stolen that.
Hit us up, Netflix.
Yeah, I'm up for doing that. 100% up for doing that. Yeah, as Nick just mentioned, this film stars a guy called Richard Hatch. He plays a character called Dan. As Nick said, most famous for being in Battlestar Galactica. I didn't really find anything else he'd been in. He has been in other
Both
stuff.
the original and the remake.
Yes. He also made a fan version of the film when he was
Himself.
trying to get it remade.
Yeah.
It was only like 4 minutes short, but he got all the original cast back.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was the only original character that returned for the remake. He died, unfortunately, in 2017. He was 71. Also stars a lady called Kay Lenz. She plays Carrie. She was in an awful lot of TV.
Okay.
Pretty much every big TV show you can think of, she's at least been in one episode of. She's been in loads of stuff. She also got an Emmy in 1991. A Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series for a show called Reasonable Doubts.
It is great to know that someone can improve their acting ability to that degree.
She won an Emmy 8 years after this film. Also, this film stars John Saxon.
Yeah.
Legend?
I would say in certain circles. I mean, particularly when I was at university, I watched, as I think a lot of students do, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, that's
Many
probably what
times.
he's most famous for.
But again, John Saxon has been in so much TV
Yeah.
and a hell of a lot of movies. You recognise him.
Yeah, he's in everything. He's in Nightmare on Elm Street 1
He is.
and Nightmare on Elm Street 3
Yes.
and Nightmare on Elm Street A New Nightmare.
I'd forgotten he was in those.
Yeah, he's in all of those. He's in Black Christmas. He's in loads. He's literally got 197 credits on IMDb. Unfortunately, also passed away in July 2020. He was 83. Written by Terry Marcel and Harry Robertson. And also directed by Terry Marcel. Terry Marcel has written a lot of 80s TV, British TV.
Okay.
Do you remember Mr. Magica?
I do remember.
He wrote some episodes of that.
Okay. It was
Great
like 90s kids TV show.
80s kids
Was
TV
it?
show, I think, yeah. They also worked together a second time, a couple of years after this film, for a film called Jane and the Lost City,
Okay.
which I think is a similar sort of vibe.
Right.
But you mentioned a film earlier they'd also worked on.
Yeah, pre
this.
this.
Yeah.
Which is a cult classic.
Yes, absolutely.
And they were the duo behind Hawk the Slayer.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Years and years ago.
I think I have, but again, a very long time ago.
It starred John Terry.
The footballer?
No, the guy from Lost.
The guy from Lost. It was 50% chance of getting it right. Yeah, so...
Which is, again, very much in this sort of sword and sorcery
vein.
type genre.
It's got a real labyrinth vibe to it, hasn't it? It's that sort of 80s fantasy,
Yeah,
weird world, weird characters.
sure.
We're going to have some fun with this. We always have fun. We're going to have some fun
Of course we
with
do.
this. Do you have a one-word review of Prisoners of the Lost Universe?
Yeah, well, I texted you last night and said, basically, I've just watched this movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a hoot.
It is a hoot.
So I'm going with hoot.
Good one-word review. Very first thing that comes up on this movie is restored by Pinewood.
Yeah.
So this movie's been restored. We're old enough now that movies that were released when we were kids are being restored.
You say kids, still probably in a nappy.
Yeah, that's what kids have nappies
Yeah.
on.
But what I'm saying is, I'm closer to a baby than
Okay.
when this came
When we
out.
were babies, films are now being restored from that. That's how old we are. Again, for the second week in a row, this film starts with its title card.
It does, yeah.
What happens after that? Where does this film start?
There's a cobra.
There
I
is.
don't know why I said it like that. It's a cobra.
Cobra.
I'm thinking about it now. This is a weird movie, and this was really weird.
This is a weird movie. Is maybe the biggest understatement of all time.
A cobra is staring at a woman.
Yes.
The woman stares at the cobra.
Yes.
And
It's a standoff.
she grabs it.
Yep.
Because it's kind of in a trance.
Yeah.
And this is Carrie. She is a TV presenter who is demonstrating that certain snakes can be put to sleep by certain musical tones. This is a B flat that's being played.
Yep.
And then, hilariously, my first laugh of this movie is when she says, it may only work on snakes that like music.
Yes.
How, pray tell, do you know if a snake likes music?
Because it falls asleep to a high B flat.
Do you have to look at its CD collection?
What's in a snake's CD connection? Sting. Snake Sting?
Yeah, why not? Scorpions?
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy? I don't know. I don't know.
That's a stretch.
Yeah.
Stretched thin. Yeah, basically she's doing a screening of something that she's been working on.
White
with
Snake.
Why did we not think of White Snake? And she gets a call to go to a lab. Basically all this phone call says is you need to go to this lab.
Yeah, get to your next job right now. You've got
Yeah.
to record some footage.
So she drives there. And while
But they say you've got to go on your own because the camera crew's delayed.
Yes. So you've
So
got to
go and wait for them at
wait
this
for them at this
location.
location. So she goes to this lab. She drives there on her own. While she's driving there, the radio's on and there's a news report on. It's because it's bottom of the stream, and what would bottom of the stream be without news reports? The radio tells us of earth tremors.
Yeah, there's going to be earth tremors.
They've started more northern than where we are, but they are heading down. We're going to get some earth tremors. And then she's a woman, so she can't drive very well, so she causes a crash.
Oh, I thought there was a tremor instantly.
Oh, was there?
After the news said tremors will be coming,
See,
there's a tremor.
There's a few times in this film where there is a tremor, but there's no visual signs of this
No one
tremor.
acts.
Nobody acts as if there's been a
an
tremor.
earthquake happening.
So you might be right. But anyway, there's a crash. There's a car crash. She basically takes this truck off the road. Her car comes out fine.
Yeah.
Dan's car, who this turns out to be driving, smashes his truck up a wall.
And then I was like, what the fuck is this film? Because he's like, goes to the back of his truck. He's like, oh, you stupid woman. You can't drive. You're a woman. You've driven me off
There's
the
a
road.
lot of that in this film.
I'm like, he's a carpenter or he's a handyman.
Yeah,
He's on his
something
way
like
to his job. He's like, my truck's my livelihood, you stupid woman. And then he goes in the back of his truck and he pulls out this kendo stick and he's like, you've broken my kendo stick. And I'm like, what is going on?
I've never seen a kendo stick outside of a wrestling ring in my life. But this man's got one in the boot of his truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really strange.
He's really angry.
For those who
about
don't
it.
know, a kendo stick is basically 8 or 10 bits of bamboo sellotaped together
Yeah.
that people whack each other with.
It's like a martial arts
It's a
thing.
martial arts thing. You only ever see them in wrestling matches because they make a really nice noise.
I
But they don't
suppose
do
this
a lot
is
of
to
damage.
kind of show that this guy can handle himself.
Yeah, I guess
But he's
so.
so angry about this kendo stick.
I
And I
don't
just,
know.
of all the things, I was not expecting him to pull that out in the back of his truck.
It wasn't even broken.
It was
It was bent, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like broken. And then he threatens to spank her. He's like, you better get out of here or I'm going to give you a good spanking. So she runs off in the most comedy run I think I've ever seen. It was like, you remember Benny Hill? It was like one of his kind of runs around.
Yeah.
And then she arrives at this lab and she meets Dr. Hartman for the first time.
And he says first word. Again, another laugh from me here. I've got
This
to
film's
say.
funny.
Yeah, but I feel...
I don't know if it's intentionally funny.
Well,
but it's
this
funny.
is what I was going to say. I felt the first 15, 20 minutes of this, it played it straight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm finding this funny because it's dated, the script is janky,
Yeah.
the acting is janky, and I felt it was playing it straight, like I say. But then there's a certain point, pretty much when they get to the Lost Universe,
Yeah.
that this film then decides it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel that at this point.
Okay, there's like I mentioned Labyrinth earlier. That's the same sort of thing though. That plays it quite straight at the beginning, and then when she gets into the labyrinth, it goes all humorous. And
Well, and this
I
is
suppose
like,
it was a theme of the time.
yeah,
That's the sort of thing that people were doing back then.
sure. But my unintentional laugh here is like Doc Hartman introduces himself and he says, "I'm a serious dimensional physicist."
He does it because all those unserious ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, he's discovered that he can send things to another dimension.
Yeah, same place, but another dimension.
Yeah, so
It's a matter. He's invented a matter transmitter.
Yes, basically. And he wants to show her this off. So he's like, give me a personal possession.
Yeah.
And she gives him a compact mirror, I think it was. And he puts it on this platform.
Yeah.
Presses some buttons on an old Amstrad. He pressed the space bar a lot. He didn't do a lot else. And then this thing with the most 80s of special effects vanishes.
Sure.
In a green laser light show. And then he presses some more buttons on his Amstrad and brings them back. And then he's really surprised. Well, she's really surprised. She's like, if I hadn't have seen that with my own eyes, I never would have believed it. But she did see it with her own eyes, so she kind of has to believe it.
Yeah.
And then there's an earth tremor, because earth tremors, we need earth tremors. And what this does, somehow, is open up this portal so we can look through it.
Yeah, so there's like, on this platform, you can see the other dimension. It's a tree,
like a
it's
tree,
a desert thing. And he's like, that's new.
Yeah, I've not done that
How
before.
has an earthquake made this happen?
I'm not going to question that. I don't know.
And then, this might be my favourite bit, there's another tremor,
Yeah.
which I believe basically shakes him into this portal
That's what was supposed to happen.
because he's looking at it.
What actually happened was the earth tremor happened, the camera shook for a bit, and then 2 seconds later he jumps through it.
Yeah, he literally stepped into it.
But you were supposed to believe that he'd been shaken through this portal, and he just disappears.
Yeah,
in front of
gone.
Carrie's eyes. Cut to Dan. We meet Dan again.
Yeah.
He's gone to try and find some help because his truck's all smashed up.
Nearest place is Dr. Hartman's
He's
residence.
turned up at the same house. He rings the doorbell. Nobody answers, so he goes in, tries to use the phone, and then she hits him on the head with something.
Yeah,
she
like a
thinks he's an
vase or
intruder.
something. And he's like, this stupid woman again.
Yeah, not you again, you stupid woman. And then he says, "I recognise you," and she's like, "I've got a TV show."
And he said,
And then they seem to
immediately,
instantly fall in love.
yeah, he immediately says, your show's garbage.
He does. Yeah. And then he's like, "What's going on here, stupid woman?" And he's like, and she just says, "Oh, Dr. Hartman was here, but now he's vanished."
Yeah.
He gets no other explanation other than that.
And she goes, he was just leaning over like this.
Yeah.
And then another earthquake happens, and she gets shaken into
Doesn't
the
he go
portal.
in first? I thought Dan went in first.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dan goes first.
He goes,
Dan leans over. He
she
gets
says,
zapped
yes,
in.
he was leaning over just like you.
Yeah. And then there's an earth tremor and he gets sent through. And then she ends up going through as well.
She basically steps through it.
Yeah, basically. She goes looking, and she arrives in this lost universe now. We're in the same place, but it's a different world.
Yes.
And this is an undeveloped world, so this is basically a jungle where we're in now.
Yeah,
The
deserty,
forest.
jungle.
Deserty, foresty jungle. So she wakes up on a rock, she goes looking for the others.
She's walking around on her own, sort of chuntering about, where's Dan? I've got another appointment later.
She's got high heels on walking through this forest. And she sits and has a bit of a rest on a rock.
There's an absolute dig at Dallas here for no reason. Which
Is
really,
there? Okay.
The place, not the
Right.
show. Because she's chuntering to herself and she says, "Oh, where am I? Am I in hell?" It's either that or Dallas. So someone on this movie doesn't like that place for some reason.
How random. So she sits on a rock to try and get her bearings to see what's going on. And suddenly a swamp man
I put caveman.
grunts at her.
Yeah.
He's basically a
stuck
man
in quicksand.
who's stuck in quicksand up to his neck in swamp. Just grunts at her. And she kind of looks at him a bit quizzically. But she doesn't seem that flustered by the fact that there's a man in a swamp behind
she's
her.
not in danger. The guy can't move.
No. But you'd still be a little bit surprised, I think. But anyway, she helps him out. She passes him a bit of wood, and he manages to climb himself out of
Yeah, he
this
pulls
swamp.
himself out.
And he's enormous.
He's a huge
Giant.
Neanderthal.
Yeah.
She's pulled out the Neanderthal.
She helps this dude get out of the quicksand, and he's a giant. He's basically a massive.
Yeah, and he just runs off. He kind of nods at her and runs off.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He just walks off.
Do you want my next line in my notes?
Yes, please.
Some flashy-eyed bitches show up.
Yeah, basically that's what happens. They're like little. I put a tribe of fly-like men show up.
Yeah,
because they're like little tiny men with flashing big red eyes.
Yeah,
not like little flies. They show up, and she gets rescued by Dan. Dan's now a hero.
Yes.
But unfortunately, Dan rescues her so hard that they fall off a cliff.
He rescues her hard.
Yeah.
They fall off the edge of a cliff.
Yep. So, and it's that comedy thing of he's got a little root of a tree.
Yeah.
And also her in the other hand looking down. The fly men, or what did you call them? The big-eyed, flashy-eyed bitches. They've got this huge paper mache rock that they're going to push over this cliff to knock those two off.
Exactly.
To try and knock them off and kill them off. I don't know why these guys are so angry, but they are. Because they've got massive flashy red eyes, I guess. But the giant swamp man comes along and saves them.
He punts the bitches over the cliff.
He does. He throws them over, and as they fly over, they turn into mannequins.
Also, as they fall, there's a proper cartoon penny whistle sound.
There
effect.
Really is. Whoop.
That's the first time this happens. And then
we need to mention sound effects.
My God, do they play this joke through this movie?
Yeah.
Because the sound of the Foley artist was having a whale of a time when he was just told, go for it.
Yeah. There's so many comedy sound effects in this film. It gives it a real feel. It dates it as well. It gives it a real time. It's a real moment in time in this film. But yeah, he basically kills all the little fly bitches. And they climb back up the cliff. Well, he's got like this bit of cable because he's a tradesman. He's a tradesman and a screwdriver.
Yeah.
So he makes a grappling hook, which he throws up the cliff and doesn't get any purchase on. But the swamp man puts it into a tree and helps.
He does.
Helps grapple the hook. So Carrie climbs up. She gets back up the cliff and
she leans on the boulder.
She leans on the boulder that's made of paper mache.
Which then nearly kills Dan.
Which nearly kills Dan anyway because it goes over the edge. But it misses him by a country.
And that was the first, apart from the sound effects, that was me going, oh, is this a comedy?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be a comedy?
Is it supposed to be a comedy?
I still don't know.
Okay. When they both get back up, they both manage to sort themselves out. And they basically find a green man.
Yeah.
Who's a man who's got a green face on a crucifix kind of deal. He's been tied up by these fly
We also
bitches.
find his name later on that his name is Green Man.
Yeah, that's his name. I've written Blue Man here because he was most definitely blue. I don't know if that's something that's been lost in the
colorization
restoration process. But yeah, he's supposed to be a green man. And he basically says, follow me, I'll help you out.
Yeah, because those little guys are going to come back.
Yeah, they're going to come back.
Travel montage.
Yeah, basically walk through the weird.
And poor Carrie can't keep up.
Yeah, she's got high heels.
The men.
Yeah.
The strong men.
But eventually they follow him all the way to a lake where he builds a fire.
She immediately takes her clothes off.
She immediately takes all of her clothes off.
Goes for a swim in the lake.
They're still in danger.
Yeah.
They have no idea where they are. Dan has had no explanation of what's happened.
No.
He doesn't know anything about parallel dimensions or parallel realities. All he knows is he went to look at a machine and is now in a weird world. But he never questions it at all.
He doesn't, to be fair to him.
Yeah, so she takes all her clothes off and goes for a dip in the lake. The green man builds a fire using some weird way to build a fire that they do in these movies.
He's got a heat stone or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
I've put she goes for a dip because 80s film women are stupid because they're still in danger and she's taking all her clothes off. And that being said, she was in danger because a water beast jumps out.
Yes. Man in a suit.
Basically, a man in a monster suit jumps out and tries to attack her. But the green man kills it.
He does.
And he's like, that was a water beast. You should probably have not gone in that water.
And he says, oh, well, we're even now. You saved me once I've saved you.
Debt repaid.
See you later.
Runs off.
I've made this fire and now I'm just going to leg it. I'll
leave you with the fire. And he throws him some like fruity thing and says, that's your dinner. But he runs off in a plumberry. He runs off in a really comedy way. And there's a comedy sound effect to his run again.
Yeah. It's actually like Fred Flintstone when he's bowling.
Yeah. So they decide, right, what we need to do is go and find Dr. Hartman. But unfortunately, they've realised that time is running different here.
Yeah, because Dan, apropos of nothing, says, "How long have you been here?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Well, like a day this
Yeah.
morning." And Dan says, "Well, I've been here a week."
Yeah, which means Hartman's probably been here for like a year.
Yeah, because I stepped in just before you.
Yeah. So time's run different, but so Hartman's been there a long time. We need to go and find him. And then they just kiss.
Well, they find the tree.
Yeah.
Well, Carrie recognises the tree from the view through the portal from when they were at
Yeah.
Hartman's lab. And then, they just literally kiss.
For no reason. They've hated each other all the way
Yeah.
through it so far. And then they don't just kiss. They do some naughty.
Oh, yeah,
They go full at
They
it.
cut away, but presumably, they're doing the Lost Universe naughty.
Yeah, absolutely. When she wakes up, he's not there. But some other dudes
He's
are.
gone to have a shave.
Yeah,
Because
why
that's your
not?
priority.
He hasn't even got a beard. But some other dudes are kind of looking at her sleep. And this is where we meet Cleo for the first time. Or the Warlord Cleo, as he's known all the way through this. This is
John Saxon.
I was going to say Robert Saxon. John Saxon's character. He's basically the big bad guy in this film. They already have some prisoners.
Yeah, they've rounded up a couple of traitors.
Yeah. And they're basically going to take Carrie as well because he likes women. Because he's a warlord.
Yeah, but he says to these two traitors, "You're coming back with me as a prisoner.
Yeah.
You're going to hang."
Yeah, I'm going to hang
And
you.
then off screen, we just hear a... "Ah!"
Yeah, as if he's hung from the longest rope ever. Finally, Dan's finishing his shave and he comes to the rescue, but instantly gets shot.
Oh, his dive when he got shot. Look, Richard Hatch, may he rest in peace. My God, give him all the awards for this. It's like it's some kind of like star jump / swan dive.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was I watched it 3 times.
I did. I rewound it.
It was amazing.
There's a couple of points in this film that I rewound because some of it is really funny. But they take her. They get Carrie. They take her back.
leave Dan for dead.
Yeah. Carrie's screaming, "Oh my God, you've killed him! You've killed him! What am I going to do now? I'm alone in this world." So she's convinced Dan's dead.
Yeah.
In the very next scene, Dan wakes up and is absolutely fine.
Not a scratch on him.
Not a scratch on him.
Because he was shot.
He was shot, or his dive was out of the way of the gunshot and he missed him. I don't know.
And he hit his head. I
don't know. But he was shot. He dived. He was unconscious. He wakes up. He's fine. But there's a little dude,
a little thief,
trying to rob him.
Yeah, a little hobbity dude.
Yeah. This is Malachi.
Yeah.
And he basically, Dan wakes up, attacks this guy. But he gets some information out of him. He finds out who Cleo is. He finds out where he is, and Malachi wants to help him out.
Yeah, Malachi says, "Well, if your friend's been captured, she's probably been taken to Cleo's fortress in the Dark Mountains."
Yes. So Dan says, "Look, come with me, help me out. If you do, you can have this gold watch."
Yeah. It's futuristic.
Malachi's
device.
all over this. Malachi's up for trinkets. He loves a trinket. It reminded me, have you ever played Golden Axe, the game?
Yeah, years ago.
Do you remember the little creatures that used to come while you were asleep in the night and steal all your stuff? You reminded me of one of them.
Yeah.
This film's got a very Golden Axe vibe to it now, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I guess you can see
That sort of vibe.
Yeah. That.
We cut to Cleo's camp. Cleo's a weird word to say.
Yeah, I don't like it. I didn't like writing it. I didn't like saying it.
No, it's a strange
I didn't like it when it was said in the movie either.
Cleo. K-L-E-E-L. We go back to the camp. Carrie's there. She's tied up with the other prisoners. And this dude goes to rape her.
Yeah, like Cleo's right-hand man, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I think it was called Vosh or Voss.
Yeah, he takes her off deeper into the woods, and he's gonna rape her.
Yeah.
But she dick kicks him.
She dick kicks him, and then the giant dude comes and saves her again.
Yeah. But then Cleo comes around the corner.
Cleo
comes around the corner.
It's hard to say with a cold.
Yeah, it really is. Shoots the caveman.
Yeah, chases him off.
And it runs off. And Cleo says, "I own you."
Yeah.
You're mine.
Stop trying to rape. He also tells the man off for trying to be a raper.
She's my woman.
Yeah, this is my woman. Stop trying to rape my woman. Cut back to Dan and Malachi. They're now riding together on one horse.
Malachi says, "Oh, Cleo has got a sorcerer working for him."
Yeah, Malachi says to him, "You shouldn't really be taking on Cleo at the moment. He's never been as powerful because he's got a sorcerer friend.
Yeah.
And he's teaching him shit. That's why he's got these exploding gun things that he's got." So Malachi takes them to this. I guess it's like a trading outpost.
They want another horse.
They want another horse because they don't want to be sharing the same horse.
Yeah, to
Fair.
make this long journey to Cleo's fortress.
So it's kind of like a bar come trading post.
Yeah.
There's loads of horses there, and basically Malachi trades Dan's tools because he's still wearing his tool belt.
Yep.
He's a handyman for a horse, and the guy needs Dan's tools because he's got a toothache.
Yeah.
So he needs his pliers to get his tooth out, which he
Indeed.
does, which is quite grim. But then while this is all kicking off and this trade's going on, Dan looks around and notices the green man's there.
Yeah, he's getting drunk at a table.
Yeah.
He's being forced by the other ne'er-do-wells to drink.
Yeah. Because basically he knows this guy is supposed to be like the knower of everything.
He knows how to survive in the wild.
Yeah,
he knows.
He's got very important information for surviving in this universe. He's almost like a bit of a fairy type character. He's like the spirit of the forest, I guess.
And all these other traders are like, well, if we get him drunk, we can get him to tell us our secrets and his secrets and all this sort of stuff. But they get him to drink so much, he just passes out.
Yeah, basically. So what Dan decides is, well, I could probably get further with the green man than I can with Malachi.
Yeah, so I'm going to take him with me.
Yeah, and fuck you off.
Yeah. Which starts a fight with all the other people in this bar.
And the first of this movie's great fight scenes kicks off.
Oh, also, just before we get into that, I want to point out that in this encampment is a vulture
Yes, that can talk.
that acts like a parrot.
Yes.
Because it repeats words and clucks and...
It's basically a parrot,
Yeah.
but it's actually a vulture.
It's a parrot soundtrack, but it's a vulture.
Yeah.
I mean,
I liked it. It was a bit fantasy.
yeah, I kind of, well, it's a lost dimension. Why can't a vulture be a parrot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this man's green. We're not questioning that. The fight scene's great. All the fight scenes are great.
Oh, they're so bad.
Yeah, they're terrible.
The sound isn't matched up.
No.
It's like...
The sound effects are comedy again.
Dan's punches are like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
How many people does Dan kill in this movie, by the way?
Hundreds. Literal hundreds.
The body count is like... Oh, he's up there with Rambo.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
He's
He kills
gutting
people with one punch.
Punching people.
They've all got they've got massive swords, spears. There's all sorts of medieval weaponry there as well.
Can we talk about him using a candle on someone here?
Yes, let's talk about that.
He picks up a candle, smashes it on this guy's head, but the sound is like he's thunked him with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And he looks at the candle and it's like you see the wick through it. It's just made of wax.
Just a normal candle.
It's brilliant. It's terrible. It's brilliant.
The fight scenes are great. Basically, they win this fight. Everybody's knocked out. They're not all dead because they do get up and go after it.
Yeah.
But so he leaves Malachi, but he takes the green man.
Yes.
Who's
over his
still
shoulder.
unconscious.
Yeah.
He's still passed out. So he drapes him over the horse and rides off, leaving Malachi there.
And Malachi winds the traders up. He says that guy's got this futuristic device.
Yeah.
I think is really valuable. We should go after it.
So they do. They all go after him, including Malachi. And then we go back to Cleo. We meet him again. He arrives back at his fortress now with his slaves and with Carrie and his prisoners.
Carrie apparently is very valuable because she has...
Blonde hair.
Yes.
Hair the colour of the golden sun.
Yeah, which none of Cleo's other women seem to have.
Cleo has a head slave.
Sure.
He calls her a half-breed slave. She is called... I don't know what she's half-breed of, but she's a half-breed slave. And this is Shireen.
Yes.
She's like his favourite. It's almost like his wife, I guess.
Sure.
But Carrie's his new favourite, so she gets jealous of that. He gives a traitor...
So the guy they didn't
hang earlier. He gives him the chance to fight him now. He gives him a load of spears.
Yeah.
And he says, come at me.
I'm just here.
I'm not going to move.
Yeah.
If you want to kill me, you kill me. And this man's got no energy because he's just walked all the way through this jungle. And he throws a load of spears at him. Doesn't even get close to killing Cleo.
I think it was supposed to make Cleo look badass, but it's just shit. Why didn't the guy just get closer and attack him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just trying to yeet these spears at him.
Javelin some spears.
Half a mile away.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Cleo gets fed up of this and eventually gets a gun out and shoots him in the throat.
He says, my law is hard, but just.
Yes.
He says that a lot in this 5 minutes.
Cleo has actual guns.
Yeah.
And this is what's making him...
Like a musket.
Yeah, this is what's making him in charge because nobody in this world has ever seen this sort of motorized invention before. Because the Green Man's got a gun, but that's more like a blowtorch type thing.
it is, yeah.
It has like an exploding berry in it that fires the gun out. So this is why Cleo's managed to get in charge, because he's got this gun. Shireen says to Cleo at this point that Carrie has a look of evil in her eye.
Yeah. No good will come of being with her, I think she says.
Yeah. Malachi, meanwhile, he sneaks up on Dan and the Green Man.
Yeah, they knock Dan out.
Yeah, basically he gets knocked out from behind. Then in the next scene, the three of them are all tied up.
Yeah, so Malachi's been
captured as well. It's basically these guys who Dan was beating up a minute ago has managed to capture them.
And they've been sold
to
a tribe.
Basically. They're all tied up in this cage and they've basically been challenged to a contest by this tribe. And this enormous, great big man comes out with an even bigger
painted
sword.
Gold.
Yeah, he's basically a great big giant gold man. I actually looked him up to see if he was, because I thought the guy that big in the 80s got to be a wrestler. Yeah. But he wasn't. He had never done anything before.
He's the guardian of the rock, because this tribe worships this
really hot rock.
Fire rock.
Yeah.
And they say for this contest, if you beat the guardian, we will set you free.
Yes.
So Dan gets volunteered this task.
Yes, because Dan's a fire.
He does throw a punch like a sledgehammer, to be fair.
We've seen it already. This guy has also got an enormous sword that's bigger than Dan.
Yeah, I'll just put there's a huge gold boy.
Big gold boy. But Dan can't budge him. His punches are not registering because he's not connecting by about 10 feet with any of them. But yeah, his punches are not registering at all. So how do you beat a big man?
Step on his toes.
Step on his toes. So he does. He steps on his toes, kicks him in the butt, and he
pushes him into the fire rock.
And he explodes. Basically.
That was the guy. Yeah.
There was no fight.
No.
The guy never even threw a punch or swung his big sword. He literally hit this fire rock and instantly exploded. Cleo, meanwhile, has gone to see his sorcerer.
Twist.
It's
Dr.
I didn't see it coming.
Did you not?
No.
You moron.
I was having a drink then. You can't call me a moron. Well, he'd only been meant, to be fair, he'd only been mentioned once before. It's like, Cleo's got a sorcerer.
Yeah, which was literally like, Cleo's got a sorcerer.
Okay, fair enough, mate. I'm tired.
That's fine.
The sorcerer's Dr. Hartman, obviously. Cleo leaves. Dr. Hartman walks out, sees Carrie, is not surprised to see her in the slightest, and says, look, keep your mouth shut. I'm on it.
He's like, it's not too bad here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have sided with a megalomaniac villain, but
it's fine.
As long as I
may have invented guns, but it's fine.
My life here has been all right.
Yeah. Because he's obviously been there, a lot longer because there was time pass between when he went through and when Carrie went through. Basically, Khalil and Carrie at this point have a big row.
He says, I've never said this to a woman before because women are all stupid.
Yeah.
But how about you actually reign alongside me? Gives her the whole Darth Vader speech.
Yeah.
So, as my equal, as my queen. She's not going for that.
She's not having it. They have a bit of a row. And he says, fine, then I will keep you in a cage until you beg me.
Yes.
That's fair enough. Dan and the Green Man and Malachi are back in a cage again.
Yeah. The tribe has gone back on
their word.
The deal.
Yeah. But they don't have anybody to guard their rock anymore. So basically, we're just going to set you on fire. And we've got this really intricate way of setting you on fire, but we're going to set you on fire.
So they put them in a cage, they dig a trench, fill the trench with oil, and when the oil touches the fire rock, that will go on fire,
the cage will explode.
Them.
Yes.
Yeah. Gives them ample time to come up with an escape plan, that's all I'm saying.
Which they do quite quickly because the Green Man is there and the Green Man knows everything. He's the all-seeing eye also, pretty much.
They bust out the cage, don't they?
Yeah, he's got some explosives, so he busts out the cage. And they start fighting. They basically fight this tribe. The giant guy turns up again. He seems to be able to teleport around the world.
He does,
yeah. And they take everyone down. They basically...
My word, the body count here.
Yeah, loads. Hundreds.
Dan is just slicing through dudes.
Yeah. Because he's using that massive sword.
Yeah.
That Guardian guy had. But they do. They take everyone down. It's another great fight scene. If you like stupid shit fight scenes. And then the Green Man sits on the floor, and he starts playing some beautiful music. And Malachi's like, "That's the song of the horses. He's calling the horses." And he does. This beautiful music is how the Green Man communicates with horses.
Yeah.
And they all come to...
He also talks to the caveman, who we learn is called Kahar.
The Green Man can talk to anything and anybody.
Yeah. And he says he will accompany us to find your friend because he's met her.
Yes.
And he liked her.
And she saved him.
Yeah. So they've got some muscle with them.
Yeah,
now.
so they've basically we've got a bit of a rescue party going on, I guess, now. Hartman goes to see Carrie in her cage. She still thinks Dan is dead.
Yeah.
And this is where he admits that he made the guns that Khalil uses. He's basically invented guns.
Yeah.
And gunpowder to convince Khalil that he was a sorcerer and therefore useful in this world.
Exactly.
And he says, I can offer him other powers too. And that's how I'm going to keep myself
I'm working
relevant.
on something else even more powerful.
Carrie says, go to hell.
Yeah, that's kind of a catchphrase, isn't it?
Yeah, she says it a lot. And then the Green Man manages to get some water out of the ground. In one of my favourite scenes of all time, I believe. He basically sticks a straw in the ground and water starts coming out of it.
Yeah, because the horse has told him he's thirsty.
Yeah, the horse has said, I'm not going anymore, I'm thirsty. So he's got this it's like a blow dart. This hollow dart.
Yeah.
And he sticks it in the ground and water comes out. It's really funny. And then they find a woman tied up in the forest.
Yeah, so was it Shireen? So
it was Shireen.
Her punishment is, she's been tied up.
Yeah, she's being punished for something.
I think it's burnt by day in the sun
Yeah.
and then devoured by night by something.
Ugh. Horrible way to go.
It's dusk, so night is just falling, by the way.
Yes. And as night falls, I've written, some zombie monks rise up from the ground.
Yeah, it's a zombie army.
Yeah. So all these zombie monks start rising up from the ground and start chasing them. So they all run off, including Shireen, together. And they escape and they get into some caves.
They do.
Where they're still being chased, but they've managed to lose them for now.
It's kind of like a walking chase scene.
Yeah, it is.
Through these caves.
But they're zombies, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they get attacked again, and then there's a massive fight in this cave scene.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the dead people are killed even deader.
Yeah, they are. They win this fight again. Dan does not lose a fight. He's up for all these fights, and he doesn't lose any of them. Hartman then shows Khalil what he's created.
Yep.
Which is basically fireballs.
Sure.
It's like an exploding...
Nitroglycerin, yeah.
Float something on the floor. A bit like what Walter White uses in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Throws it on the floor and it explodes. The guys in the cave escaped from the cave just in time because the zombie monks were back. They managed to use the giant dude to push a big boulder out of the way. It's like a door, and they get out. And then, handily, the other side of these caves is Khalil's fortress.
Yeah, right outside the door.
Literally right outside the door.
And then this movie, by this point, is just given up all pretense of any sort of making sense of story.
Oh yeah,
because
was even trying.
Yeah, but it totally gives up here because it just needs stuff to happen conveniently. So the Green Man goes, one of them goes, "Oh, where's Kahar gone, the caveman?"
Yeah,
and then he's suddenly inside the fortress.
Yeah, on the top of the gate, trying to open the gate.
So he has teleported pretty much.
Yeah, he can teleport. Why couldn't he teleport out of the quicksand?
Well, exactly.
So he manages to open this really heavy door on his own.
Lets them in.
Unfortunately, Malachi gets trapped underneath when he lets it go.
Yes, and he lets it go because the caveman Kahar takes a crossbow bolt
to the chest
and tumbles over the.
Somebody tackles him over the edge, don't they? They go down together. So Malachi gets trapped under the gate, but they just help him out. It's fine. The raper man from earlier.
Oh yeah, the rapey perv.
He goes back for some more of Carrie.
Yeah, he's like, now you're in a cell. No one's going to stop us.
No one's going to stop me. Somebody stops him.
It's Dan.
Dan
Perfect timing.
and Carrie have this reunion. He basically tackles this dude off her.
Yeah, another one for the kill list for Dan.
Kills him with his own knife.
Yeah.
Kills this dude with his own knife. Carrie and Dan have a big hug. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe you're alive. I thought you were dead." He's like, "No, I wasn't dead. I didn't even get shot. It's all good." And then Carrie says to Dan, "Hartman's here and he's making nitro." And Dan's like, "What the fuck's nitro?" He's not. He literally just accepts that as absolutely fine. So they go to Hartman's lab, and he's there with a couple of females.
Yeah.
Just in bed in his lab.
And you're like, "Oh, this is why you like this place, because you would never get two hotties like that back in the real world."
Absolutely not. So they go to the lab and they actually tie him up. Dan's like, right, you two girls need to get out of here because it's all about to kick off. The Raper is not quite dead. He's still a little bit alive.
Crawls back up to Cleel's room.
Bedroom.
Yeah.
Dies on Khalil's bedroom floor just as he says the words, the woman. And then, because he's been tipped off, Khalil's now outside waiting for them all to get outside to escape. And he cold-bloodedly murders Shireen.
Yeah.
He literally just like...
It's like, you lot aren't going anywhere. And you...
No, boom.
Yeah.
Just blows her head off. Literally, this guy's cold.
Malachi tries to barter for like safe passage.
Yeah, he tries to make a deal.
Cleel's not having any of it.
Yeah. Well, he said, I've got this explosive bottle and I'll blow this whole place to shit if you don't let me go.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's just got a bottle of wine.
No, because then he throws it and it explodes.
Yeah,
the rock.
but they think he's just got this bottle of wine and then he throws it and it isn't wine because it blows up.
But it doesn't really do any damage.
Doesn't do any damage, just blows up a rock.
So they're all just put back
in the cell. Him, Dan, and the Green Man are now back in the cell again. Carrie then threatens Hartman with exposure. She's, I'm going to expose you for who you really are. And he's like, right, what I'll do, I'll let all the boys out, but they have to promise to go. He makes them promise to leave immediately. He's at the cell with the boys.
Yeah.
And he's like, I will let you out, but you have to leave immediately.
Come back.
Never come back. Carrie's going to stay here. She's decided to stay here with Khalil.
Which she kind of has, but obviously she's lying.
Yeah.
So.
And Dan agrees. Dan's like, fine, that is no problem at all. Let me out and we'll get out of here. Dan's a clever dude because Hartman lets him out and Dan instantly double crosses him.
Yeah.
Khalil and Carrie are now getting comfy in the bedroom. He's got some gifts for her.
Yeah, like some jewellery.
Yeah.
There's like a little
He's
idol.
proper besotted with this girl.
Yeah.
So Hartman's like, right, well, if I can't beat him, I'm going to have to join him. So he helps Dan build some bombs, basically is what they are, to help blow the place sky high. And they start laying traps. There's like a trap laying montage.
This goes on for ages.
Fucking ages.
So like Green Man and Malachi are setting all these little bombs over doorways and stuff. And meanwhile, Dan's like, I'm going to lay a fuse to this.
Yeah.
They basically loaded the lab full of all the explosives.
It's like cartoon fuse. It's like a trickle of gunpowder.
He's got one little pouch.
Yeah.
And it's for 5 minutes he's laying this through the building. It's really funny.
Because remember, Hartman invented gunpowder. So they lay this. There's one point where the Green Man drops a trap.
Yeah, so they're setting all this ambush up.
There's a point where the Green Man drops one of the bombs and he catches it. Yeah. His face with Malachi, it's just really funny. So yeah, the whole place is now booby trapped. Dan then tricks Khalil. He basically dresses up as his like servant lady who feeds him his drinks.
Yeah.
And he goes to grab Khalil's gun from underneath him, but he misses.
Yes.
But as Khalil's in the confusion, Carrie grabs it instead and pulls it on him, holds it on Khalil. But she's a lady in the 80s. She's not strong enough to pull the trigger. She's not allowed to pull the trigger.
She punches him instead.
So she punches him and knocks him clean out.
Yeah, because she's got a loaded fist.
Oh,
she's got that jewellery that he gave her, that little idol thing, is in her fist.
She's just knocked out this warlord with one punch.
She's basically got brass knucks. Dan lights a fuse.
Yep. So they run as things start slowly blowing up.
But then Dan goes, they get around the corner and he's like, stop. I've got to take this off. Because he's still wearing the monk's thing. Yeah. He just stopped to change for no reason.
Stopped to get changed whilst the place is about to blow up.
As they kill everyone on the way out.
Yeah, they kill
anyone
all
who's
the
in
guys.
front of him. He kills them all.
Kills them all.
Everything starts to explode.
Everything starts to explode. Khalil tells them to stop, and he gets taken out by the giant dude.
Yeah, the caveman's back.
He just blows him up, and then the whole place just explodes.
Yes,
literally. There's your budget. The whole budget is blown on this one shot. Cuts to them going back through the forest. It's all done. We're all happy. The only problem is,
how the hell are we getting home?
We're all stuck in this other dimension.
Hartman says it's a 10 million to 1 chance that we find the door to get us home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where he's got those odds from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately after that, something happens.
Literally, as soon as that sentence is out of Hartman's mouth, Malachi's like, oh, what's that shiny thing on the floor? And it's Carrie's compact mirror that we met earlier.
Which I didn't realise was back in this dimension, because it had come back to the lab.
I think it went back through when Hartman went through, because it was still on the table. Somehow, in the rules of this film, that beams them back home.
Well, beams Dan and Carrie back
home. Yeah, they leave Hartman. They're like, fuck you.
They beam home and then that's it. The movie just ends.
Yeah, it does. They leave Hartman there. Malachi says, what about the watch after they've gone? And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So how that compact mirror... I guess because they were in exactly the same place as where the machine is.
And where they...
But nobody pressed the buttons on the Amstrad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, they leave Hartman there. He's like, fuck you, Hartman. Shouldn't have been a dick. And the movie ends.
I don't know if he deserved that, because he's just going to rule... He's going to be the new Cleo,
Of course he is. Well, he didn't hate it there either, did he, to be fair?
No.
What do you think?
This movie is fucking shit. It's so bad. So much to hate about it. Things I was supposed to hate about it, I liked.
It's entertaining as fuck.
It's such a throwback. I laughed so much.
Yeah. I feel like
times
even in the 80s this would have been funny. I feel like this is intentionally bad.
Yeah.
Even then.
And time has not been kind to it, but also softened it a bit, I think at the same time.
Yeah, I think you're right. It has a very early 80s fantasy movie vibe to it.
Yeah.
They're all the same. There's loads of them.
It's got to know its shit for the sound, just from the way it deals with the action sequences.
Their filmmakers know exactly what they've made here.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly entertained from start
I had
to
a good
finish.
time.
I had so much fun.
I had a good time. I can separate the fact that I had a good time, but I know this is a terrible movie.
This is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But this is also a really fun time. I had a lot of fun with it.
You just can't predict from 1 minute to the next what's going to happen in this.
It's ludicrous.
Yeah.
There are giants. There are men with flashy red eyes. There are swamp monsters.
Yeah.
There is a man who's got a green head who can do anything. Literally anything.
Yeah.
There's a
Any
warlord
plot
with guns.
hole corner you've written yourself into, this guy can get you out of it.
Absolutely. He's the king of all movies. Every movie needs one.
It's exactly what I expected a movie. When I saw like John Saxon was in it, I
Yeah.
was like, I think I know what this is going to be. And it is. I didn't expect the sort of stupid, like I say, comedy element to it. But I had fun.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but
It has those cheap, low-budget 80s movies vibe. A bit like Power Rangers and things like that, isn't it? It's like all those low-budget monsters and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Just silly.
Yeah. It's
really silly. But it's a heck of a fun time. I defy anybody to not be entertained by it. I really do.
I think if you're in the right mood and you're like, okay,
I feel like you can laugh with it and you can laugh at it. And for that reason, it's funny on two levels.
It's of its time, and it's just like opening a
time
warp in itself now to go and watch this.
Yeah, this movie doesn't get made these days.
No, its attitude to women is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Honestly, Dan, fuck me, that guy's getting cancelled.
Yeah,
if Dan was a real person, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's not.
I actually think Richard Hatch is quite a good leading man in this.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, for what he was, just an everyman.
Fists like cannonballs.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun times though. Fun times had by all. I think. What's the best thing about it?
I think if you just.
I think it's the 80s-ness.
Yeah, it's just the madness of it. If you could tune into what this is quite early on.
Yeah.
And don't have high expectations. Leave your brain at the door. Look, it's
100%.
just go with it.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
It's the flashy-eyed little bitches. They were my favourite thing.
I really like the Green Man. I thought that character was really intriguing.
Sure.
I thought that was good. What would you change about it? I don't think you can even answer that. Everything.
How am I going to make this more crazy?
You can't make it more crazy.
Yeah.
Everything and nothing should be changed in this film.
It shouldn't exist, but I'm glad it does.
Great. That's a great way of describing it. That's perfect. We'll leave it at that. Do you want to talk stream table?
Sure.
Fuck me. I've got no idea. Do you want to do what we did last week?
I'll read up and you say stop.
Okay, do it.
I'll start from the bottom.
No, start from the top. I'm joking.
I'll start from the bottom.
Okay.
20th is Apocalypse Please. 19th is the CEO. 18th is Setup. 17th is 8 Remains. 16th is Target. Hard Times is at 15.
Stop. I think.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I've
got no idea.
You've stopped earlier than I thought you would.
Okay.
But I'm not.
Where would you have
I
stopped?
don't think you're necessarily incorrect.
I feel like I've stopped at the gap between shit films and not so shit films. That's where I was trying to stop.
Yeah, it doesn't belong with the batch of sort of meth films that comes next.
No.
And then you've got to make a call. Well, do you really
You'd skip that
do
section.
you pitch it and go, well, actually, I had a really fun time here, so does it sneak into the top 10? But I don't know if we can do that with this movie.
I had a really fun time.
Yeah.
I probably had more fun with it than where I've stopped it. I genuinely don't know.
I think for a movie that's 40 years old and has a lot of problems, has not aged well, but you can still have a fun time watching it. I think you've stopped it in a very reasonable position.
We were getting close to Intrusion, which was last week's film.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was much better than this.
Yes.
The Land of Steady Habits and Comes a Bright Day, which are the next two,
Yeah.
are also better than this. But I don't think Hard Times is. I feel like I've stopped it in the right place.
Yeah,
But if we're talking fun, I'd be a lot higher up.
I don't
more
think this
fun
can,
than
I
any
don't
of
think
those
this can
but you
honestly go
can't-
much higher.
No, I don't. I think you're right. It's more fun than any of those films, but it
Yeah.
is not as good a film as any of those films. So, Hard Times. Remind people what Hard Times was.
Hard Times was the Irish comedy about the group of middle-aged men in the little Irish village who poisoned the well with Viagra. It's better than that.
It is better than that. Comes a Bright Day was the heist movie with Timothy Spall.
Yeah. I think let's put it there.
Between those two.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the right place. So 15th?
Yeah.
Okay. I can deal with that. 21st film with the stream table. That is.
4 movies left.
4 movies left. We're getting so close to the end of season
Yeah.
7.
Still time for a new winner this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Lockout's sealed in at all. I'm hoping Apocalypse Please is sealed at the bottom. I don't want to see anything worse than that, but I feel like Lockout's beatable. Should we see if we can get something to beat it?
Let's randomly select next week's movie.
Let's call on Robin. What do you want to watch, Nick?
I want it's like a good drama that really invests me.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I don't know if such thing exists
I
on
don't
our
think there's
list.
any of them on the long list. You ready?
I am.
Robin. It has picked a film called Last Man Down.
Okay.
Any ideas?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, do you want a synopsis?
Yes, please.
Last Man Down was released in 2021. It's an action sci-fi movie. Sci-fi 2 weeks in a row. Is last week's a sci-fi? This week's a sci-fi?
I think it's got to be, yeah.
The synopsis says, after civilization succumbs to a deadly pandemic, oh, wow, topical, and his wife is murdered, John Wood, a special forces soldier, abandons his duty and becomes a hermit in the Nordic wilderness. Years later, a wounded woman appears on his doorstep. Maria Johnson is an escaped lab rat, and her pursuers believe her blood is the key to a worldwide cure. Though John is hesitant to get involved, all doubts are cast aside when he discovers Maria's pursuer is none other than Commander Stone, the man that murdered his wife some years ago.
Oh, my God.
Wow, I feel like we've just learned a lot about this movie from that. This movie is, according to IMDb, Swedish. However, it does say language spoken English.
Okay, cool.
So, I don't know why you'd make a Swedish movie but speak English, but they seems to have done that. Stars a guy called Daniel Stuyvesant, who is fucking massive. We're looking at this picture of him. I don't know who he is, but he's a big old dude. He's a Norwegian guy.
Okay, I'm excited. I feel like this could be a high action quotient for this movie.
According to my IMDb, he's been in 2 films I've seen before. So
Well, there you go. We'll learn more about that.
learn
next
more
time.
about him next time. So yeah, go out and watch Last Man Down. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. My voice is going. We've been talking now for 3 hours. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd at BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded, all the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff, and you can even buy some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream.
Treadmill.
You looking at my treadmill?
Yep.
I haven't used my treadmill since March.
Okay.
There's a motivation for me to use it. After you've done all of that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bottom of the stream. On there, for a couple of quid every month, you will get early access to episodes. You'll get bonus episodes. Nick writes a newsletter every week. Nick doesn't write a newsletter every week.
No.
Apologies. Nick writes a newsletter every month. And if you come in at the top level, you will get a wild card, which means you can pick the movie we watch, and we'll see if you can win the prize. After you've done all of that, head over to Discord. On Discord, we have loads of fun. We group chat. We play games. We do movie watch-alongs. There's always somebody to talk to. We made some proper good friends in there, and we want you to be one of those proper good friends.
You will make friends if you will join. It's a genuinely lovely little community.
You really do. The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
If you can spare a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review or a rating anywhere you can review or rate podcasts. That could be at a place like Podbean, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the others. We're on them all.
We are, indeed.
Just come and find us. It really helps us out.
Full disclosure, that we've just done 3 episodes in a row. Nick is now almost lying down as we're doing this. That was a stint. We've done well.
But these new mic stands are really helping me do that. So.
They are indeed. Thank you, Patreons. That was a stint. We've done it. We've mission accomplished.
I had a great time.
I have as well. I love it. I love doing this show. So yeah, go out and watch out whatever that film was called, Last Man Down. And we will be back on Monday with The Wave, and we'll be back next Thursday for the movie show.
Cheers.
Bye.